Okay, so today we're going to do a working of the 30th path of the Tree of Life. And we have gathered together all of our ritual implements. We have a candle in the colors of the path. It ranged from red to yellow. We have some mastic incense and some galabadnum that will be burning. We have the sun card handy, and we have some citrine. And also, in addition, we have our hexagram, which we have taped to the back of a layman that we use. Okay, so this is the Tree of Life, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going from the 9th Safra of Yesod to Hod. And so this is a final leg of a working that we've been doing for quite some time. We went from Malkuth to Yesod, we went from Malkuth to Hod, and we did the Malkuth, we did Yesod, we did the paths, and now we're doing this path, and then after we're finished with this, we'll do this final sphere of Hod, and we will have completed the first triangle of the process. And this path is called the pure intelligence. And the affirmation is, my thoughts are focused on the awareness of God. When we get started doing the path, it's going to give us some directions. We're going to start by going east from Malkuth to Yesod, and then going northeast to Hod. And it doesn't seem intuitive to me, so I wanted you to kind of explain that real fast.
Okay, so most maps have north at the top. When we're looking at the Tree of Life, we're going to have east at the top, which, generally speaking, in this tradition, east is the direction that you start with. So we're going to travel east upwards to Yesod. So when we're in the temple of Yesod, we will look to our left to see the next path, the next doorway. And if you're facing east and you look to your left, you're looking northeast. Because we don't say east-north, we say northeast. So to our left will be the north. If you're standing facing east, to your left is the north, to your right is the south. So if that seems confusing, it's because we're used to looking at maps that have north at the top rather than east. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, but it doesn't at the same time. But I think it's okay because we're all moving in the right direction. Okay, so let's begin with our guided meditation. Imagine that you have a red square at the base of your seat, and that this square encompasses the egregore, and shoot that channel of connection straight down without delay or impediment into the center of the planet, so that you may be rooted in the great Mother Earth. And when you get there, take a look around and see what color it is and what texture it is. Breathing into the belly and exhaling out into that sphere that is anchored in the center of the planet. With each exhalation, that sphere becomes more solid, more colorful and vibrant, and more real. Draw that energy up, moving through the fiery layers of the Earth's core. Draw the energy up on the inhalation from the belly, through the hard rock of the Earth's crust. Draw the energy up through the bands of water, and draw the energy up to your root at the base of your spine. And on the exhalation, pulse very clearly with a red light. Maintain your awareness to the connection at the center of the planet, and draw the energy up to the navel, where you will imagine the color orange. And on each exhalation, that orb and that color will increase. Draw the energy up to the solar plexus, and on the exhalation, using the intention to focus the energy as it glows yellow. Drawing from the center of the planet on the inhalation, exhaling into that energy center in your body. Using the earth to feed our own energy circuits. Draw the energy up to the heart where it pulses green. Draw the energy to the base of the throat, where it will pulse a light blue. And to the center of the forehead, where we have a dark blue. From the center of the planet on the inhalation to the belly, on the exhalation from the belly to the center of the forehead. Radiating out in the 10 directions. And then to the top of the head, where it will be a violet color. At the top of the head, sitting on top of the head. From the center of the planet to the top of the head. And now to the level of the moon that we've all been practicing for many months now. Inhale from the center of the planet to the belly. Exhale from the belly through the head to the moon. And now with the next exhalation, we shall go to the level of the sun in our galaxy, soul. Inhale from the center of the earth to the belly. Exhale up to the sun. As we have grown now into a new station in how we connect with the universe around us. By breaking it down into these chunks and practicing it long periods of time, we are sure to have success.
May we be encompassed by the power of the name Shaddai and established in the place of Yesod, the foundation. May the portal of the 30th path be open to us, and may we journey therein in the power of the name Eloah Vedaat to the gate of the seer of Hod, splendor, and in the name Elohim Zabaoth, may the gate of Hod be open to us, and may we be firmly established in the wonders of that sphere.
I proclaim a working of the path, the 30th path of the Tree of Life. In the stillness of mind, in the freedom from cares and from the reasonings of every day, We are aware of ourselves afloat in peaceful yet vibrant darkness. A feeling of mystery fills us, a feeling which is not the passive and aimless questioning which arises from mere bewilderment, but a sense of wonderment and reverence. Here we have true mystery.
Behind the darkness of your closed eyelids, you begin to visualize the astral temple of the Sephirah Malkuth as the journey begins. You give the projection sign, and now the familiar temple of Malkuth forms around you. The central flame burns brightly with a renewed vigor on the central altar.
Gaze at the candle and remember the affirmation of Malkuth. I am made in the image of the divine. And now give the sign of silence.
As before, you intone the names that call forth the inhabitants of the temple. Adonai Haaretz. Sandalphon. Ashim. Sandalphon appears as in your previous journeys, and you exchange the usual greetings. Around your neck, you wear a layman engraved with the symbol of a hexagram. You hold up the symbol for the archangel to see. She takes you swiftly through the portal of Tau, directly in the east of the temple.
Within a short time, you are at the entrance of the temple of Yesod. You enter without Sandalphon, giving the projection sign. When fully within the temple, you give the sign of silence. Let's call forth the divine names and spiritual inhabitants of this temple. Shaddai El Hai, Gabriel, Cherubim. The beautiful Archangel Gabriel formulates in the jasmine mists and says to you, you have entered the realms of pure intelligence. By what symbol dost thou enter? She inquires.
You answer, by the layman of the hexagram. You point to the symbol upon your chest.
Satisfied, Gabrielle takes you to the central altar where she anoints you with a perfumed oil. You remember the affirmation of the Temple of Yesod. I have the power to actively create my world. The violet leather sandals are on the floor in front of the altar, right where you last saw them. You put the sandals on your feet and marvel at their velvety softness. The archangel then takes you to an orange archway in the northeast.
On the keystone of the arch is the letter Resh in brilliant white. Within the archway is a veil on which is depicted the tarot card of the sun. She traces the sign of soul. The veil parts, revealing a door carved from pure golden chrysolith. Stepping forward, you take the hexagram layman from around your neck and trace with it the letter Resh. The door opens and you start out on the 30th path.
You find yourself walking along a road beside a wide river. It's early in the crisp pre-dawn hours of the day. It's dark and you can only see the road because of a glowing light that's thrown off by the hexagram layman. You're thankful that the terrain is flat and the road is well paved. You have no desire to stumble in the darkness.
Ahead, a flickering light beckons you with the promise of warmth and companionship. Drawing closer, you discover the light illuminates two enormous limestone pillars whose summits are lost in the darkness. It is the entrance to a great temple. You follow the light into the antechamber, marveling at the hieroglyphics that adorn the temple columns. Your ears pick up the low rhythmic sound of chanting. Before long, you find yourself in the main chamber of the temple. Several priests with shaven heads wearing white linen tunics kneel in supplication around a large golden disc suspended in the air in the middle of the room. It is an amazing sight. The light that brought you to this place, and which fills the temple with its brilliance, is an ever burning flame above the golden floating disc. Behind the gravity defying disc is a colossal statue of a seated figure. Incense waves slowly upward from three large braziers at the foot of the sculpture. The head of the figure is that of a hawk, surmounted by a golden solar disk, which almost touches the ceiling. The right hand of the figure grasps the Ankh, the emblem of life, while the left hand grabs a was or phoenix wand.
The chanting of the priests increases in volume. Mesmerized, you listen to their earnest hymn of praise. Awaken in peace, thou cleansed one, in peace. Awaken in peace, thou Eastern Ra, in peace. Awaken in peace, thou Eastern Soul, in peace. Awake in peace, Ra, in peace. Thou sleepest in the bark of the evening, thou awakest in the bark of the morning, for thou art he that overlooks the gods. There is no God that overlooketh thee. The eyes of the hawk are inlaid with rubies that reflect the flickering of the temple flame. They seem to sparkle with a life of their own. From the entrance of the temple in the east, you detect a subtle change in the atmosphere. A slight glow from outside begins to filter through the darkness. The chanting of the priests continues, and their hymns to the sun god become more intense.
O thou only one, thou perfect one, O thou who art eternal, who art never weak, whom no power can abase, O thou splendor of the noonday sun, over the things which appertain to thy sphere, none hath dominion at all, and therefore we honor thee. O divine one, self-created, self-anointed, thou art the Lord of the heaven and the earth, and didst create beings celestial and beings terrestrial. O thou heir of eternity, everlasting ruler, self-sustained, as thou risest in thy gracious rays, shine on all the faces and abide in every heart. Live thou in us, as we shall live in thee. O thou golden hawk of the sun.
Moving to the entrance of the temple, you gaze out over the landscape. You see the golden orb of the sun breaking over the low-rising hills east of the city of Heliopolis. and imagine that you hear a collective sigh of relief from all living creatures. Gods and humans alike rejoice at the daily rising of the sun. Once again, the sun god Ra has overcome his enemies, the Apep serpent, the forces of evil. Once again, the life-giving light of the sun vanquishes the shadows of darkness. The orb of the sun clears the hills, and the full glory of Ra is witnessed. The morning rays wipe out any remaining chill from within your body. Within the golden disk, you can barely discern the outline of the god throned and enshrined in the royal Metet boat. In the prow of the vessel, Thoth, the god of magic, sets the course for the sun's journey across the sky. He is accompanied by his counterpart, Ma'et, the goddess of truth, and the mighty god Horus, who acts as a helmsman. The rays of light emanating from this magnificent vision are pulsating with holiness. For a moment, you are blindfolded and you shield your eyes with your hands.
A few moments pass until your sight returns. You have a vision of a hawk flying above you, gliding effortlessly in the rising thermal winds of the Nile Delta. It speaks to you. By names and images are all powers awakened and reawakened. To name a thing is to know a thing. But there are lesser names and there are sacred names. Isis learned the true name of Lord Re and assumed its great powers. She became mighty among magicians. Seek your true name in the book of memories. Seek knowledge in the books of Hermes Trismegistus.
The vision of the hawk fades. To your surprise, you discover that you're lying flat on your back in the middle of the temple of Ra, staring up at the statue of the solar god. It is noon, and you are alone in the temple, and you have no idea how long you've been lying there. The heat of the midday sun reaches into every corner and crevice in the temple. Rising from the floor, you see a small altar that you hadn't noticed before, just in front of Ra's stone feet. On the altar is a papyrus scroll, sealed with a wax imprint of an ibis, the emblem of Thoth. Remembering the hawk's advice, you break the wax seal and open the scroll.
The papyrus seems to be blank, but as you look closer, hieroglyphs and other writings that you don't recognize take shape on the page in front of your eyes. They are indecipherable at first. So, in a silent prayer to Ra, you ask the sun god to illuminate the message and make its meaning clear to you. A deep voice answers, and your true name is revealed to you. Although it sounds foreign at first, you recognize it on a subconscious level. You consider your true name for a few moments before returning to the papyrus. You notice that you are able to understand the meaning of the writings without understanding the symbols themselves. You read and hear the following words written in the book.
I am eternity, the creator of millions, I extend everywhere in accordance with what was to come into existence. I know as the One, alone, majestic, the indwelling soul, the most potent of the gods. I am the scribe of the divine book, which says what has been and affects what has yet to be.
Immediately after reading these words, a clarity, a new awareness overcomes you. You are able to remember things in your life that had long been forgotten. You are able to catch glimpses of other lives centuries ago. You even seem to faintly recall a time when the universe was very young. This experience fills you with a calm sense of elation, as though you have found something that has been missing from your life for a very long time.
The final image that you receive from the scroll is the symbol of the sun, a golden circle enclosing a single point. As you close the scroll, the knowledge you gained fades a bit from your conscious mind, but remains safely stored in your unconscious. After paying final respects to the sun god, you leave the temple of Ra in the city of Heliopolis, and you begin your trek back home. The orb of the sun is just beginning its western descent.
Soon, you are at the temple of Yesod, where you return the violet sandals to the foot of the altar. The cool air of the astral temple is refreshing after a day in the Egyptian heat. The archangel Gabriel welcomes you with a knowing smile. She then guides you back to the temple of Malkuth and leaves you in the care of Sandalphon. The archangel of Malkuth closes the portal behind you and goes to the fountain in the west. She returns with a chalice of water for you to drink from, and you suddenly realize how parched you really are. Finally, bidding her farewell, you salute her with the projection sign, and in turn, she gives the sign of silence.